All right, so today is July 1st, 2015. And for some of you that know Canadian history, we are in Montreal here, Denis and I, Prog Core Live. It's Canada Day today, Confederation.
Happy Canada Day.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you.
Merci.
And on this Happy Canada Day, we have the pleasure to have with us two members from the band Silhouette. They're a band from the Netherlands, and they play Neo-Progressive and symphonic prog rock. Correct, gentlemen?
Yep. Yep.
And we have with us, we have Erik Laan, who is keyboards, vocals, and bass pedals. Right, Erik?
Yeah, that's correct.
I said that right? All right. And we have Jurjen Bergsma, who is bass guitar and backing vocals on live. Correct, George?
Yeah.
Excellent. So thank you both for being with us today. We're going to spend about an hour with you guys. We're going to have a Q&A, question and answer session. We want to know about you guys. This is your show.
Yeah.
So, and I'll be honest with you right away. I've only heard about you guys just a little while ago. I listened to your 3 albums back to back to back, and it's just great stuff. I can't get enough of it. It's just fantastic stuff. So excellent, and it's an honor for us to have you with us. And when I say us, I talk Pierre Lemoyne and Denis Champagne of Prog Core Live. So with that, no further ado, gentlemen, here we go.
Yes, we do. So I wanted to know, Erik and George, in what year was the band formed?
Well, it's interesting that you say, because you say 3 albums. We already made 4 albums. The first one being already sold out. And the band, as we are with the name Silhouette, was established in 2005. And the initiative was taken by Brian de Greve, who was a very enthusiastic songwriter. He, at the time I met him in 2005, he said that he had 200 songs ready already to start recording and arranging and so on. And the first time in the beginning he said, well, let's be a hobby band. And then I said, well, why not just make a CD? And he laughed at me. He said, well, that's not serious. And said, let's do it. And somehow this CD, Amaze, it was called, sold worldwide much more than we had anticipated. And that's when we started thinking, okay, maybe there's more interest in our music. And that's when we started to be more serious, and the second album, Moods, was also done in a much more professional way, because Amaze was very low budget. We recorded the drums with only 4 microphones, with no mixing afterwards. It was really a low budget album, but yet it sold everywhere in the world.
So you didn't have a label for that either, did you?
No, that's correct.
No label and no recording studio either.
No, we recorded in the worst possible place. We recorded in a school room with a lot of acoustic mess and noise and stuff like that. So it was sort of just a hobby project. And well, as I said, we were surprised by the response, and that's when we started to really get things going. And yeah, there we are. So it's an anniversary year. It's now, we exist 10 years now.
Indeed, happy anniversary to you guys too.
Thank you. Thanks.
Now you said that it's sold out, right?
Yes, it is.
Now, is there still a way to get our hands on something like that if if we're interested, or you guys don't have them? Or?
There is the possibility of having a digital download.
Okay.
So do we have that on?
But you guys don't sell. But you guys won't sell it. Like, it's not up anywhere on any websites or Bandcamp or anything like that.
Not yet.
We're working on a Bandcamp version of it right now. It should be up next week.
Oh, fantastic.
Okay.
Great timing, guys. Fantastic.
Yeah, because that's what I was reading, that you were going to re-release it. That's why me and Pierre only listened to the three.
Because those are the only 3 that are available.
Uh-huh. There's no plan yet to re-release Amaze.
Okay.
We have the plan also because the 3rd album is also sold out across the Rubicon.
Wow.
And this is, by the way, the 2nd time it was sold out. So this is the one we'll probably re-release quite soon.
Okay.
Maybe you guys should just maybe print a bit more, a few more when you on your original print. I mean, instead of maybe 500,000, maybe 10 million or something. Maybe that would work.
Sounds reasonable.
Alrighty.
No, but it's funny to see how we didn't really anticipate so much interest in the world for our kind of music. And it's really interesting to see that every time, like you guys also say, that you didn't know about Silhouette until quite recently. And this is what we hear all the time, that people say, how come that we didn't know you before? So apparently there's something we do wrong in terms of promotion. I don't know what's happening, because every time it is growing and it's growing more. It's good news, of course, but
for sure.
It is. Every time we are surprised again about the level of interest in the world.
Well, actually, Erik, I discovered you guys with the album Across the Rubicon.
Okay.
That's when I discovered you.
All right. So you were a bit.
Well done.
Well done.
All right. So we also wanted to know who formed the band.
The band was formed by Brian. And he tried to form the band in the predecessor of Silhouette already existed in 2004, but then we didn't have a name. The composition was still very uncertain. But he is the one who took the initiative. He is also the one who put the advertisement on internet, to which I reacted, and we met, and that's so. But he is the one who really took the initiative. By that.
Were you an original member, Erik?
Well, if you could say the band with the name Silhouette was formed by Brian and me, and also with Jos, who left us 2 years ago, and Gerrit-Jan, who left us last year. So that was sort of the original composition of Silhouette. Yes.
Okay. And how about you, George? When did you join the band?
I joined Silhouette last August.
So so you're new. Okay, cool.
I'm very new.
Cool.
I joined them while they were still recording Beyond the Seven Wave, so I played 2 songs on Beyond the Seven Wave.
Okay.
And I joined Silhouette because Erik responded to an advertisement on the internet that I placed, offering myself as a bassist.
Viva Internet! Yeah.
Well, that's how we discovered you. Now, did you know, George, about Silhouette? Had you heard of them before? Or?
No, I haven't. But I fell in love with the song Web of Lies straight away when Erik sent it to me.
So you're new to them, like as far as knowing who they are, like last year, like within the last year?
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
Good job.
Yeah.
Excellent.
The other thing we wanted to know, why the name Silhouette? Where did that name come from?
Well, that's an interesting question. I think Brian, since he was a kid, he wanted to form a band with the name Silhouette. So that is going back a long way. What I liked about the name is that Silhouette is about the contours of an object, which leaves a lot to the imagination, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
You don't see the details, the texture, you don't see the face of the silhouette of a person. So you can have a lot of imagination as a viewer, as a spectator of the silhouette. So this is what we also like to do, to create a kind of atmosphere to which many people can also give their own interpretation to the music or to the atmosphere that we create.
Yeah, that sounds good, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Very good, you're right.
Yeah. So we're going to move on to a song, or do you want to ask something else? Or?
Well, of course I have other questions, but if you want to move on with a couple of songs.
Okay, so what we're going to do, gentlemen, is we're going to take a quick break. We're going to move on to a few songs from your last album, okay, which is Beyond the Seventh Wave, correct?
All right, yeah, that's correct.
Perfect. And we're going to listen to the first 4 tracks, which are Prologue. Am I saying that right, or Prologue? My French accent's coming out, I think.
Sure.
I think it's Prologue. And we have Betrayed, Web of Lies Part 1, and Web of Lies Part 2. Now, Web of Lies Part 1 is The Vow, and Web of Lies Part 2 is The Plot. Now, you did mention, George, a few minutes ago that you listened to that Web of Lies and you just loved it. Yeah. Anything special to say, you guys, about these songs before we put them on? Anything, the recording, the sound, how you feel, whatever?
Well, it's one of the 2 songs I recorded on the album.
So okay.
Yeah, and it's a song which it is part of the story, and maybe I can explain a bit later on about the story, but it's also, I wrote it when I felt this, it is about rage, it's about anger, about the need to take revenge, but I wrote it all the time within my mind, these terrible dictators such as Assad right now in Syria, killing his own people. So maybe that helps a bit also to understand the song.
All right. So we're going to put that on so everybody listen to that. And then we're going to come back with Erik and George for a little bit more of this session. So here we go. We're going to listen to those 4 songs and we'll be right back.
Yeah, so enjoy, everybody.
Alrighty.
Cheers.
All right. So, just listen to those 4 tracks from the last album by Silhouette, the album Beyond the Seventh Wave. And the 4 tracks we just listened to were Prologue. Probably sounds a little bit better said that way, I think. And then we listened to also Betrayed. We listened to Web of Lies Part 1, The Vow. Web of Lies Part 2, The Plot. Before we went to those tracks, Erik told us about the story, about the song. So hopefully everybody listened and caught that. And of course, that's where George came in with Silhouette. So great job, gentlemen.
Yes.
Now,
Thank you.
welcome. Now, we want to talk also about, we have you two with us, you 2 members of Silhouette, but you have also 3 other members with of the band. We have Rob Van Nieuwenhuizen.
Yeah,
Not bad.
yeah.
Pretty good, eh? Pretty good. I practiced for the last week.
So,
And Rob is on drums. And we have Brian DeGrieve. He's on guitar and vocals. Now, Brian was one of the original members, right?
yes.
Okay. And we have also Daniel Van der Wedged. That one's not too good.
Veggie.
Heide.
Vides. All right. Thank you, George. And he's on guitars. So, question to you gentlemen. Can you tell us a bit about these three members of the band? Anything about them special? We'd like to know about them a little bit.
Well, Daniel is an amazing guitar player. His influences come from Dream Theater, among other musicians, and he's a real asset to the band at this point. He played all the solos as written by Brian on Beyond the Seventh Wave, and I think he did a brilliant job doing to that.
Yeah, it was great.
He
You're right.
did give his own interpretation also to some solos, especially the solo, I don't know if you noticed in Web of Lies, The Plot, was a long solo which we all love, and the band is also very exciting to play that on stage. He did that, he composed that himself.
He improvised that himself, great.
And there is another solo which I love, which is in Lost Paradise, which will also be hopefully played by you guys later on this setting.
Yeah.
And you got to listen to it. I think you can hear the influences of Dream Theater, but I also hear things that remind me of David Gilmour.
Oh, well, yeah.
Definitely.
One of my favorite guitar players.
Yeah.
Ever.
Agreed. Definitely.
Maybe what's interesting also about Daniel, we were looking already for a while for a new guitarist to make Brian more able to be a lead vocalist, as Jos, who was also lead vocalist in the past, has left us 2 years ago. And then we were at the Marillion Convention. I know there are Marillion conventions also in Montreal.
Yeah,
Yes.
we were there actually on April
We're
25th.
there. Okay, and you also probably know about the Swap the Band part of these weekends, in which fans who also can play an instrument can play part of one of the musicians of Marillion on stage.
That's cool.
They sacked Steve Rothery for a while, and Daniel could hit the stage.
Wow.
I heard him play. I think it was Splintering Heart, and Brian and I said to each other, we were there as well. He said, "Oh, this is the sound that we want. This is the guitarist that we want to have with Silhouette." So we approached him, and he liked Silhouette, and that's how he started also with us.
Excellent. Excellent.
Not surprised.
Now, how about Rob? I mean, drummers are, we hear anyways, a little bit different. How's Rob? Does he fit into that category, being a bit different than everybody else, or?
Well, no, not really.
No.
He does definitely fit in our group, within his own role, of course. He's weird as drummers are, but he's
Okay, that's pretty much what I meant, George. Okay, that's it.
Yeah, and he's got a terrific sense of humor, and that's an essential part of a good band, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
Right.
That's what drummers are for.
Yeah,
Just
I
to
think
get
so.
everybody else laid back, take the stress away.
Yeah.
We need them. And of course, Brian, well, go ahead.
No, just one more thing, which we knew Rob because he was a drummer in the prog metal band Incidents.
Okay.
We shared the stage a couple of times, and that's when we found out about his humor and said, okay, let's approach him. And Jos left us. And of course, he's also a good drummer, but the humor part is...
the humor did it.
It's a 50-50 thing, indeed. Now, Brian, of course, he's one of the original members, and he's still hanging in there. How is it working with Brian?
Yeah, excellent. I think because Brian and I are the main writers at this stage in Silhouette, and we are really complementary to each other, and we understand each other very well. He works with MIDI. I don't know if you know what that is, but it's a technique to record in computers, which if you have only the MIDI sounds, you have these bleeps, and it sounds terrible. But when he does this, I understand what he means, and then I start arranging these songs, and then most of the times he's happy. Sometimes not, okay. But most of the times he's happy, and then we share it also with the rest of the band. The next album we have to do it differently because we really want to get George and by the way, his real name is Jurjen, but we didn't know how to translate that to English, so it will be George, but in Dutch it is Jurjen.
But do some people call him Jay?
Sorry,
some people call him Jay?
Or JJ, yeah.
JJ, okay.
Okay.
I'm sure they call you lots of stuff that maybe we can't talk about it right now. So you're talking about writing the songs with Brian. One of you write the lyrics, the other one writes the music, or you do both together? Or?
We do both together, and sometimes Brian comes up with songs and I do the arrangements, and sometimes I do the lyrics, sometimes he does the lyrics. Last album I wrote more than before, because in Silhouette, until Across the Rubicon, Jos, the former drummer and also lead vocalist, was also bringing forward good songs.
Okay.
So I could now also step in and bring my own contribution. So now the real writing duo is on Beyond the Seventh Wave was Brian and me, and there's a good chemistry between us. He lives very nearby, close to my home. It's only a 5-minute walk. So we come by each other's houses very often, and it makes it very easy to start some creative process.
Fantastic.
Do you guys practice a lot, like once a week or twice a week, or?
Yeah, once every 2 weeks on average.
Okay.
Jeez.
More often if we have a show coming up.
Well, for sure. Indeed. Indeed. All right. Well, thanks for that, gentlemen. That was excellent. So now we know all the band members of Silhouette.
Right.
All right.
Oh, the other thing, last one.
Yeah, sure.
Before you used to be 4 band members, and now you're 5, right?
Correct. Yeah.
So why you have one more band member? Why?
Well, the reason behind that is that Brian was decided he wanted to be more. He wanted to focus more on the vocals, and as a band, we said we need a front man. And when Jos was still with us 2 years ago, he was also a vocalist. He sat behind the drums. Sometimes I did lead vocals. I was behind the keyboard. Sometimes Brian was do the vocals. It's on stage. It was not really. It was sort of an obstacle. And now we have Brian as a frontman. He sings most of the songs. I limit my vocals a bit more. I like to sing, but I think I love Brian's voice as well very much, and he's a real performer on stage. So, but then it meant that he couldn't focus less on his guitar playing, and so that's when we said we need also, because we like the instrumental parts, instrumental expeditions. We like to do, let's say, saga-like. Had to remain in Canada a bit. Saga-like unisono solo things together, and this is was very hard for Brian to combine with his vocals. And now we can do that. We can have a dedicated guitarist.
Cool, excellent. Okay, so you want to move on to a couple more songs,
Sure,
and then we come back. So you guys are okay with that? We're going to move on.
Sure.
We're going to take a quick break. Listen to 2 more great tracks. We're going to listen to 2 more songs from your latest album, Beyond the Seventh Wave. And this time we're going to listen to In Solitary and also the song Escape. So if you guys could just, talk to us about those 2 songs. I've noticed Escape, and Denis and I were talking about it.
I think it's the heaviest one on the album.
After listening to Web of Lies, even In Solitary, when you listen to Escape, it's like, whoa, here we go. And it's a great track. It's a great track.
It's heavy.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, Escape has been a bit controversial to some people doing reviews. It is it's nearly prog metal. It's also very, especially the beginning, has a very heavy riff. Yeah. Because in the beginning you said, you are Neo-Prog, symphonic prog.
Right.
Sometimes we don't really understand what that means. We don't hate the label, but sometimes we don't know if you really would fit in that genre. And sometimes we think the philosophy of Silhouette is that we want to tell stories. We want to have every song have a soul, and to bring across to the audience some kind of sentiment, some kind of feeling. And in this case, In Solitary is a very melodic song. We also released it on a single, a very short version, which is a very soft song, a very and the combination with Escape, which is aggressive, heavy, is interesting. It's nice that you put them together in your show.
It fits perfect.
It's nice for the audience to compare.
Exactly.
And this may be because the story, it's a concept album. Beyond the Seventh Wave is inspired by stories such as Escape from Alcatraz. It's inspired by especially Papillon,
right,
which was a Frenchman who was, was convicted for life on forced labor. And he escaped several times. And the first time especially, it was a very violent escape. And this is also a bit what we try to put into the song. So
excellent.
Please have.
All right. Well, thank you for that. So we're going to listen to those 2 great songs, and then we will be back with Erik and George after those 2 songs for a little bit more discussion. So thanks again, guys. Everybody listen to this, and we will be back after that.
What an album.
Okay.
Fly towards the sky. There is nothing to hold you. Now you just try, little butterfly, and live your life for me.
All right. So we are back after listening to In Solitary and Escape from the latest album by Silhouette, Beyond the Seventh Wave, and two very, very different songs, as you were telling us there, Erik. But they fit well together. There's just something about that mix that just sounds good.
Yep, really.
Okay, thanks.
Excellent stuff. All right, so a little bit more on Silhouette. Here we go.
I wanted to ask you, what inspires you when you write your music?
Oh, that's very different, one song or the other. Sometimes I get up and I had a dream and I feel I am in a certain mood, and I want to. I sit behind my keyboard and things come out very easily. Another time I took 2 weeks off just to start writing, and nothing came. There was nothing there. Sometimes I have a riff. For example, Lost Paradise was written based on this mood I had when I woke up on a Saturday, and I wrote it just in one go. And that's what I like about the song, Lost Paradise. I think it's next on the album.
Yeah, it's coming up after this, indeed.
Yeah, so it feels very as an organic development, this song, and it sounds very atmospheric. It starts very atmospheric with. It was based on the idea. I was in Colombia a while ago for my work, for my job, and I was in the area where Papillon, the main character of the book Papillon, he had there a love affair with an indigenous woman, and I was there, and I thought, oh yeah, this was this region, and I love this book, so I started to write this book again, and when reading this book again. And when I read it, I had all kinds of dreams about it, and that's when the song came very easily. And in some other cases, it's just fiddling about a bit on my keyboard, as having very coincidental chords. I think, oh, this is nice, and then I record it, and a couple of months later, that sounds nice again. This is how In Solitary came about, which with these chords in the beginning with the piano. I did this just once very coincidentally. I found these chords, and later on I started working on that a bit more. Brian, he's somebody who is writing very easily. He just sits down, mostly after a couple of beers or wine. It helps a bit, and then he starts writing, and he can write 1 or 2 songs in a week. It's very easy for him.
And then you guys mix and match, and then we go from there.
Sorry?
And then you and Brian mix and match what you have, and you go from there.
Yes, and that's true. Yeah, and then we present our each other's ideas. And Brian is he has the global ideas with a guitar, some chords, and a melody and a structure. And then I start arranging. I tend to be more neurotic about things. I'm very much detailed in my composition. So we have a different approach there as well.
And I take it that, you bring that to the other band members, and then they kind of have their word to say on, George, well, this is what I'd like to do. You want to throw something in? And that type of thing, I imagine, also?
Yeah, this is a bit of a challenge also in the future, because Brian and me, we were, let's say, the last two of the old band composition. And Rob was a bit earlier, but George and Daniel came in the process of writing Beyond the Seventh.
Right.
So, and we were also already now thinking the idea is to start releasing the next album early 2017. Sounds far away, but it's closer than you would say.
Right.
And we are thinking maybe to get together for a week or so in some kind of studio far of our normal daily life to start maybe jam a bit or start new things or have some beers together and make some coincidental things come up.
Yeah, do recording sessions with the 5 of us.
Yeah.
Our last album, I didn't have much influence in the bass lines of the 2 songs that I did record.
Okay.
I just came in and Erik told me what to do and I did it.
You had some nice ideas.
So we look forward to 2000. We look forward to 2017 when we're going to have the collaboration of all the band members together. That'll be great.
Yeah.
A good atmosphere too, eh?
Yeah, excellent.
You guys look like a family, like a good group of friends.
Well, the chemistry's there,
Yeah.
so that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Indeed.
But I wanted to know about George before we put on another song.
Oh yeah, we got time. Definitely.
We got time,
Yeah,
good.
yeah, lots of time here.
I wanted to know if George, were you always in Prague or another kind of music before?
I've always been in Prague since I was about 14 years old.
Oh, really?
I've started off with Dream Theater, worked my way up through Porcupine Tree and Pain of Salvation.
Wow.
Ended up with Haken and Silhouette.
Wow.
Oh, that's cool.
So you know Stephen Wilson pretty well then.
Yes, it is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He was actually here in Montreal last week. He actually said, "Oh yeah."
You know this one? We love it.
I knew it.
Indeed, indeed.
Okay, so I know it's not about your latest release, but I read that the album Moods in 2009 that came out. I wanted to know what do you mean by it's like the bio, the story of Brian. It's about Brian, that album.
Yep.
What inspired you guys to do?
Yeah, it was sort of we have done 2 concept albums so far. Beyond the Seventh Wave, the latest one was a concept album. Moods was sort of an autobiographical story that Brian lived. It was a sort of love at first sight story, and he met somebody, he fell in love, and then they somehow forgot to exchange phone numbers, and he spent quite a while to search for her, and he put advertisements everywhere, news magazines, especially Prog magazines, because they met at a concert of Pendragon, by the way, which is a nice detail.
Okay.
A very cool English prog band that we like a lot. And at one day, a friend of his said, "Well, I know where she is." And he said, "Don't mess with me. You don't make this kind of jokes with me. I can't believe this." And so he got very angry. But true, this friend had found her. And then they had this love affair, and it was Unreal Meeting, also one of the tracks of this album, which we like to play live a lot.
Yeah.
It's a great
Awesome
song
to play live.
great song to play live. And then at the end, somehow the relationship doesn't work out, and it appeared that the story became a sort of bedtime story. He tells it as his actual children right now.
Oh,
So that's sort of the storyline, more or less.
Okay, okay.
Wow. Okay, so just a little word doesn't have to do anything with the band, really.
Okay.
Before we put on the song,
Uh-huh.
because I know I'm friends with you guys on Facebook, and I wanted to know, Erik, were you with the Dutch progressive rock page before?
Yes, I did.
Oh,
Yeah, I wrote reviews for a while
really?
because I'm obviously not only a musician, but I love to listen to prog. And somehow I wanted to share my thoughts, reviewing other CDs. But when at a given point I had to start writing reviews of bands that we would share the stage with,
Uh-huh.
somehow this felt a bit like a mix of interests. And it felt awkward to write reviews which were critical about bands that we were also friends with. So that's when I started to think maybe it's better to stop.
Okay.
Okay, the reason why...
Yeah, because there is a connection with our show. Our show's a Prog Core Live radio show every Wednesday night, and there is a bit of a connection there. Where the connection is
André de Boer.
André de Boer. You know André de Boer?
The name, yeah.
So André is actually with the Dutch Progressive Rock page. He does reviews, and he actually has a feature on our show. So every week, André sends us a future feature. That's his feature of a band that he's discovered somewhere in Europe. So that's pretty much it. So there's the connection between Silhouette and Prog Core Live radio show. We knew there was a connection somewhere. We knew it. We're just made to go together. What can I tell you?
Okay.
All right.
So it's time for a song.
So gentlemen, with that, we're going to move on to a couple more tracks. We're going to move on to Lost Paradise and Betrayed Again. And Erik, you did, tell us about Lost Paradise there a few minutes ago. Anything about the song Betrayed Again? Anything special about that song?
Yeah, because you have a song that's called Betrayed and Betrayed Again. Is there a connection?
Yeah, because the first one's Betrayed.
Yeah. So that's you can also hear in the chord structure that it's a bit similar. The main character of the story again, inspired by Papillon, but it's not entirely the same story. But it was inspired by Papillon. In this case, the main character was betrayed twice. He escaped. The song "Escape." You just listened to that.
Yeah.
After that, he comes in this paradise, and he thinks he finds the love of his life, and he is in an ambiguous situation. He wants to have revenge for the fact that he was put in prison and in forced labor for the rest of his life, and he wants to get back to the people that did this to him. But this means he has to leave the love of his life. This is also the dramatic solo which he intends to express that, which I explained earlier, which Daniel did so excellently. And after that, he leaves again and tries to get his revenge, but he is betrayed again and he will be locked up on Devil's Island, which is a place from which it's impossible to escape, which is later on the CD.
Right.
But Betrayed Again is sort of the story, and it's also the mood, which is very depressed, you could say.
All right. Okay, thank you very much for that. So we're going to move on to those two songs right now. We're going to listen to Lost Paradise. We're going to listen to Betrayed Again from the latest album by the band Silhouette from the Netherlands. And their album is called Beyond the Seventh Wave. And we're going to be back after those two great songs.
You better believe it.
You should know my desire to explain this impossible dream. I'm reaching out, but it's in vain. Paradise is what I've seen. Why can't I comfort you when you're lonely and afraid? Let me wipe your tears and
back now, so everybody's ready. Here we go. We just listened to two great tracks from Silhouette's last album, Beyond the Seventh Wave. We just listened to Lost Paradise and Betrayed Again. Hope you guys enjoyed because it was fantastic stuff. And we're back with George. We're back with Erik for this great session on today, July the 1st, right. Canada Day. Right. And of course, the 10th anniversary of Silhouette also. So we're celebrating birthdays all around.
Right on.
Alrighty, here we go.
What I like about this album, if I'm not mistaken, there's a lot of harmonies. Love the keyboards. Love everything about the album. All you guys are great.
Yeah.
It's a great album.
You got everything in there.
Thank you.
Thanks. The question I was asking myself is, why a concept album?
Why a concept album?
Yes.
Yeah, it's something I like about concept albums is that you have the possibility to use musical themes that come back in a different shape. That's what I like, and that's what when I was a child, I listened a lot to concept albums. The Wall, of course, Pink Floyd. What I liked a lot was, for example, the album of Jeff Wayne, War of the Worlds. You probably know it as well.
Uh-huh.
Well, there are obviously Tommy of The Who.
Yeah.
A lot of other. I like the music of Arion, another Dutch musician who also uses the concept as a method to do that. That's what I like. Probably because my training was classical music. I played classical piano when I was a child. In the house where I lived, where I grew up, there was also always classical music was put on the radio, and it's a bit similar. You have themes, Vivaldi's Four Seasons, themes that come back in different shape with different moods. That's what I like about prog music.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Indeed.
It helps you have a concept, also a storyline behind.
Yeah.
And we wanted to know the song In Solitary, the radio edit from your latest album, Beyond the Seventh Wave.
That we're going to listen to later on.
Right.
Okay.
And this song can be sold as a separate bonus track. But what does it talk about?
It is the story of being put in jail in solitary. And because the story was about this main character being imprisoned, he tried to escape. The penalty for that was that you had to be in solitary. This makes you mad. And this is also, I don't know if you saw the movie Papillon, which was very well.
I have it here.
Steve McQueen, indeed, yeah.
And this inspired me to write this song, but it was not only that, because in my daily work, I work a lot with human rights activists all over the world, and they, in many cases, I mentioned already Syria, but you also have Sudan, you have many other countries where people are put in jail and have to live through this. So it was also a bit of I dedicated this song to, and that's about the story of In Solitary.
Okay. Well, okay. So one thing I wanted to know: did you always have a band manager or? Because you know where I'm coming from, eh?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I wanted to know, why did you choose Kathy Keller from My Music Matters? Why her?
That's why.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. No, when we started this interview, we already talked about the fact that we sometimes have the feeling that there is potentially much more interest for our music than we anticipated. And every time we see that all kinds of people say, how come that we didn't discover your music earlier? So there's something that we must be doing wrong there. So that's one part. And so it has to do with promotion, with knowledge of new internet techniques, social media, and so on. We tried to do that ourselves. George is in charge of our social media work, and we have made big steps quite recently with that. But we also found that we wanted to play live. We just have so much fun, especially with the current lineup. We have so much fun in playing live, and but to organize that also in a time of crisis, how to find venues where to play. And that's when we put an internet advertisement on Facebook, I think it was. And we already were in touch with Kathy because she had asked us to do an interview. So she loved our music. And we were looking not for just a commercial bureau or something, but somebody who's really into working with us because he or she would like the music. And Kathy said, well, I saw your advertisement. We already had planned an interview with you guys, but can I also be your manager? I said, well, okay, let's talk about it. So that's how things came together. And she does an excellent job, I could say, because I think she organized this interview with you guys.
Yes, she did. And what's funny about it is that Kathy's going to be one of our hosts on our radio station.
Which is Prog Core Radio.
Right. Starting in August.
In August, yeah. So
Okay.
she's going to have her own show on our radio station.
Right.
Wow.
That was good.
That's
Excellent.
good.
It is. Okay. Maybe one last thing. You guys were invited, on October 17th of this year. You were. Huh?
Nothing. Go.
No, but he says you couldn't see my face.
No, because you want him in the camera and the shot.
I didn't want to be in the camera. That's
Oh, okay.
Okay. No, but seriously, on October 17th of this year, you were invited by Mystery.
Sure. Yeah.
And Borderay. And why did Mystery choose you guys?
Yeah, well, we are in touch with Michel Sampere quite a while, especially Brian. He's Facebook friends for a couple of years now. And when we released Across the Rubicon, the former album, he also listened to it. He said he liked it, and we used the quote of Michel on the internet to let's see there is sort of a similar audience there. And we were in touch, and they were planning this tour, and they like to have, let's say, in the different gigs they would do, local support acts. So that's how they approached us, and
Have you seen
we're very
them
happy
live?
with that.
Have you seen them play live? Like when they were there last year, did you guys
No.
see them at all? Or
No.
I mean, we can tell you from experience. We've seen them, a few times, and from listening to your albums, wow, you guys would be just an unbelievable show to have both you guys, both bands on the same bill.
Oh,
It'd
yeah.
be just a great fit. It'd be,
Yeah, I have the same feeling, and we after we released it, the news that we would play together in the Boerderij, which is also one of the best stages in Europe for prog. Not aware, maybe even in North America, I'm not sure, but because I never went to prog concerts in North America. It's a great stage, and we have played a couple of times there before. But Mystery is, we are all fans of Mystery. We love their music. And we like the guys, and I think many people reacted, oh, that's a perfect match, and now we will.
It is.
Yeah.
You guys are a perfect
If
match.
you guys put that on DVD, it's gonna sell like hotcakes. That's for sure.
Okay.
That's for sure.
Our big dream is one day to support them in Canada.
Absolutely, we'd love to have you here.
Yeah.
Maybe Michel can fix that up. We'll see. I don't know. He'll be listening to this, hopefully, and we'll put in a good word for you.
Right.
But we don't have to. You guys, you're okay.
But Eric, do you speak to Michel once in a while?
No, I don't. It's Brian who has the connection with me.
Okay,
Okay.
it's right, eh? Because I talked to Michel this morning,
Oh, great.
and I asked him if he had a message for you guys.
Really?
And he did have a message for you guys.
Really? Wow.
And yes, he did. Well, first of all, he says hi to all of you.
I
and,
bet.
And he says that they can't wait to hear Silhouette live on stage and to share the stage with you guys.
Wow.
And they're really looking forward to it.
Well,
The feeling is mutual.
Yeah.
no doubt.
No
That'd be
doubt.
a great show. Great show.
So I had to give you the message.
Yeah, indeed.
From Michel Saint-Pierre.
Yeah, indeed.
Thank you.
From the horse's mouth, for sure.
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
So we ready to move on to
Yes.
a couple more songs, you guys?
Right.
You're
Sure.
good? So we're going to play 2 more songs from this album, Beyond the Seventh Wave. We're now going to move on to Devil's Island, where everything happened. And also we're going to listen to Beyond the Seventh Wave. Anything special to add about those 2 songs?
Maybe. I think Devil's Island, I explained that it started with Betrayed Again. It was sort of the introduction to Devil's Island, which is a very depressed mood. The song starts a bit depressed, but somewhere in the middle of the song you find there is a twist. And then the main character remembers that he did this vow, again, back in Web of Lies, to escape. And even with if Devil's Island is not it's a place of which everybody says you cannot escape.
Right.
He starts to think, he starts to be creative, and he finds a way. And then he takes the leap. It's also there in the song, in the instrumentals. If you have, maybe you can hear it. And he escapes. And then Beyond the Seventh Wave is looking back to the escape. And the big thing is, it's also the theme of the album, that he finds out that the high rocks, he had to jump off them, and most of the waves would bring him back to the rocks and would crush him against the rocks. But after every 7th wave, the sea withdraws.
Right.
He finds out that if he would jump in the sea with a little raft made by coconut things, he could escape, and that's what happens.
Yeah. Wow, that's interesting that you guys did an album on that. It's just amazing.
There's also all kinds of autobiographical layers beyond that. So it's just one layer of story. So please, also being faithful to our name, Silhouette, it's open for many kinds of interpretation as well, if you like that.
Wow. Good stuff. All right, gentlemen, so we're going to go on to those 2 songs. Gentlemen and everybody listening, we're going to move on to Devil's Island, and also Beyond the Seventh Wave, which is the title track of the album. And we will be back after those 2 great songs.
So enjoy, everybody.
What can I do? I see wind and waves and certain death, small piece of land and an ocean full of threats. What should I do? I see no escape from this bare place, no more new plans. Can I live with this disgrace? Why did I discard paradise, leaving perfect harmony? She was the love of my life, and the future looked so bright. I admit that he was right, fell prey to my pride, brought me nothing but despair, no strength to fight. No way out of here, no way to turn the there's something really changing me. Something in the air above the Atlantic Sea, reminding me of a sacred vow. Try to escape some way, somehow. Can't let it slip away.
right, so there we go. You're in now. You're in now. Everybody's got to be in. Okay, so here we go. So we just listened to, of course, two great songs again, Devil's Island and Beyond the Seventh Wave, the title track from the last album by Silhouette. And the album, of course, Beyond the Seventh Wave. Good stuff, guys.
Great stuff.
Yeah, so here we go for a little bit more of our session with George and Erik from Silhouette.
So speaking of George, I want to know, what is your musical background? Do you have musicians in the family?
Not really. I started playing music when I was about 8 years old. Kind of forced into it by my parents. Very thankful for that, though. And I started off with a classical education. I started with the flugelhorn and moved on to the French horn. Played in several orchestras doing that, and at a certain point I accidentally touched the bass guitar and instantly fell in love with the instrument. When I was about 14 years old, and started playing bass guitar. Started off with covering some Nirvana and Metallica and stuff, and moved on to Prog, and that's how I got here.
But why Prog?
Because Prog was awesome and
absolutely
and enough for me to be challenging.
But at least you had covered some Nirvana, some Metallica, so you could kind of, I guess, compare and choose.
Exactly, yeah. I was always looking for a challenge, and Prog provided me the challenge, and still does, actually.
And that classical background, I guess, kind of worked itself into Prog, too, to a certain extent.
Yeah, that helped as well. It helped with the theoretical knowledge as well.
Right.
And George, are you the youngest member of the band?
No, Daniel is.
Wow.
Oh, how old is Daniel?
Say, how old is Daniel? 12?
Yeah.
13? Just kidding. Just give me a hard time, George.
21 or 22, I'm not sure.
All right.
And the fun thing, maybe, I don't know if you guys know, but we play live a lot. I think we played 10, 12 times this year or so.
Yeah, 12.
And we like to play in an XL formation, which means that we have violin, clarinet, extra backing vocals, and also my own son, who is 19 years old. He's a real Prog fan and is also very talented as a guitarist. He also shares the stage with us. So this means with Daniel being 21 or 22,
wow.
You are much?
27.
27, and we have Rob, who is 34 or so.
Yeah. Let's say that.
Yeah, okay. He'll probably like. No, I think he's somewhere mid-30s. So we have a young lineup,
No
and
doubt.
that's fun. Because, you see a lot of Prog bands, you see a lot of Prog audience, and don't mistake me, because I'm very happy with every fan and every Prog fan that there is. But we need to also get a new younger audience.
You know, it's a good point, Erik.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you get the younger crowd in, and that's what's great. You know, you're talking about your 19-year-old son, Daniel being 21, I think you said, and then George 27. It's the younger crowd. They're tough to get, are they?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
And why is that? What is it? I mean, is it too not really complicated music, or too difficult to listen to or to understand, or what's the deal?
I don't know. I think it's possible to. If you look at Steven Wilson, he does appeal to young people. I see the same happening with my own daughter. She's 14 years old. She loves Steven Wilson, and by the way, also Marillion. Somehow, also they succeed in getting a younger public to like the music. I think it is possible. I think maybe there is something that the old Prog bands are not doing right. I think I'm not the one who is defeatist. I don't know if it's an English word. Saying give up, it's an old generation. I don't believe that. I'm confident that there is possibility to appeal to a younger generation. There is market there.
Absolutely.
We see it also when these guys are hitting the stage and they are so energetic and they're so talented. Then you see young people also becoming fans. New people that never knew us, and they liked us. We had a gig in Glasgow, and it was a sort of in a nightclub, and at 12 o'clock we definitely had to stop because there would be a DJ. But at the end of our show, a couple of young people came in because they went to go to the DJ. but they really ended up liking our music very much.
Yeah.
So there is potential there, I'm sure.
Well, got to work on it, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, but yeah, you're right. I'm sure it's there somewhere.
I think it's the mentality that has to change.
Yeah, the culture.
I understand that the bands are influenced by Genesis, Rush, or whatever, but there is a lot of talent out there today in the young people.
But I think the big thing is,
The
and
young bands.
I think the big thing, and maybe a bit of an answer to that, is what's going on today. Like I told you at the beginning of the show, that I just discovered you guys just a little while ago, and with social media and everything, I mean, it should be easier to discover bands like you guys, because mainstream radio, they don't play your stuff. I mean, and that's the problem right there. And the young kids are going to listen to what's played on mainstream radio. They're not going to do the research. They're not going to dig the holes and try and find that diamond in the rough.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a problem.
Exactly.
That's why we're there.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed.
So, anyways, you both have classical influences in both of you in your music.
Yes, we do. Yeah.
That's what makes you guys great musicians.
Thanks.
A great band, by the way.
Multi-instrumentalist at all, or play a few different instruments?
Yeah.
George, Eric?
As I said, I played flugelhorn and French horn in several orchestras, and I sometimes still do that on occasion.
Still? Okay, great.
I love French horn. We definitely should use that.
Yeah, we are going to. It's one of my demands.
Fantastic.
Great.
Well, that's what we're going to hear in 2017 on that new album.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Oh, by the way, you guys are working on the new album?
Not yet. No, we this year was really to play live, because we enjoy it so much. It's so much fun to do, and also because Brian, he's working on a solo project with his fiancée, who has a great voice. He is also accompanying us many times on stage. And Rob is working on an album with his prog metal band Incidents as well. So this was really a year for them to do their own projects. And in addition to that, we wanted to play live. And next year will be the year of writing and recording the next album as well. Yeah. Hopefully to be finished in early 2017.
Cool. All right. I hope you keep us posted on that.
No doubt about it.
Sure, of course
you will.
Alrighty, so you want to move on to the last two songs of the album? Guys, you're good with that? So we're now going to listen to the last two songs of the album. Last but not least, of course, we're going to listen to Wings to Fly, and we're going to listen to that bonus track. It's in solitary, but it's the radio edit. We're good with that, and it's of course coming from the album Beyond the Seventh Wave by Silhouette. Anything special about Wings to Fly? Because that is pretty much the closing song.
Is it? Oh, you have a go spell too.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's fine. Yeah, is it the first one? Yeah, it's the first song I played on Beyond the Seventh Wave when I joined the band.
Oh, cool.
All right.
A nice anecdote on that is that he responded to my advert on the internet, offering myself as a bassist, and he asked me, could you come in maybe next week so we can get to know each other and see if there's a click, and then maybe we start recording the remaining songs of Beyond the Seventh Wave. And a few hours later he called me back again, saying, yeah, we're kind of in a hurry. Could you come in tomorrow and play Wings to Fly for us? So we can immediately record it and finish it up.
And he did it excellently, really.
All right.
It was we gave him very little hours to rehearse, and it was excellent.
And that's why he's here today talking to us, because everything worked out. Way to go, George. Alrighty, so we're going to listen to those two songs, and then we're going to be back after those two songs for a couple minutes, final words on this interview. Thanks again, gentlemen, for being with us today. July the 1st, year anniversary, our Canada Day, spending it with great company, and we'll be back after these two songs. Wings to Fly, in solitary, radio edit. Here we go.
Right on.
my thoughts so far away. 1,000 miles between us. I wonder how you are, still looking out over the open ocean. Oh, you will never know, stretching out your wings, no more fear. Oh, you will never know the magic of the words I still hear. Don't you know you'll never make it? I said, don't you know I'm gonna find a way. All that you see, I'm gonna solve this riddle. One day you learn the hunger for freedom will give you wings to fly. The wings to fly right to the sky. Give me the wings to fly. More time, less time, I'm freedom now. Still alive thinking about you. Echoes of a time so far away. 1,000 years have passed since I'm on the other side, free and looking out over the open ocean. Oh, you will never know. The winds caress my heart, they tickle me. Oh, you will never know, like love in a higher degree. Don't you know you'll never make it? I said, don't you know that I have found Fly towards the sky. There is nothing to hold you. Now you just try, little butterfly, and live your life for me. Your face, a forgotten memory, and your voice stopped echoing in me. How much they ever tried to break my will. These bars won't stop me from dreaming to fly from here. He's desperately struggling and fighting insanity. Will he be able to hold on to dignity? Fly towards the sky. There is nothing to hold you. Please don't be shy, little butterfly. Yes, I want you to fly, 'cause your freedom is there for you. Now you just try, little butterfly, and live your life for me.
On peut couper quand
All right, so we are back. We just listened to the last two tracks on the album by Silhouette, Beyond the Seventh Wave. The last two tracks were Wings to Fly, which was the first song that George played on when he joined the group.
Great track.
Good
George.
stuff, George. And of course, we listened to that bonus track in solitary, and that's the radio edit of that song. Okay, so we're going to come back now, and these are going to be the final words. We're going to talk with George and Erik for the next few minutes, and then we're going to put a last song on to end the show. So let's go.
Right on. So Erik and George, are you guys having a tour? Where are you going to play this year? The
Well, most of the tour has already taken place in the Netherlands. We toured in England. We did 4 gigs in England, 1 in Scotland, by the way, 3 in England and 1 in Scotland. I think was 1 in Wales. Anyway, we did Great Britain. We played in Germany in Reichenbach.
Okay.
And we are currently working with Kathy, our manager, to find out which other places we can do more gigs in this year. So the tour, the first leg has already been after us. We will have a couple of gigs in the Netherlands, including the one with Mystery on the 17th. We are currently looking into the possibility also to join Mystery, maybe to another gig also in Germany, but probably I shouldn't say that yet.
Cool.
That's all right.
I like that.
Keep it on the down low.
So,
all right.
But anyway, this is one of the possibilities. And there might be some other countries in Europe that Kathy will disclose for us.
Cool.
Excellent.
So another thing that we all also would like to explore a bit more is we like to play acoustically or maybe semi-acoustically. We did we did a sort of pre-release party of Beyond the Seventh Wave before the release party last year, and this was fun, especially because we like to play also the essence of our work, of our music, is also that it's in the end you can bring it back to a song. Our music can be very complicated, very instrumentalized, and so on.
Yeah.
But in the end, there is always a song structure which tells a story. And we found it a challenge to bring all the songs back from all its complexity to very more simple song structures. And we were very nervous about it, and we did it, and the public was very enthusiastic. So we might do this a bit more also in the future.
Interesting.
Might be, we love to do that as well.
By the way, Montreal is the prog place in America. So you'll have to talk to Kathy about that.
Yeah, it would be great. We would love to come to Canada. I mean, we have all kinds of big examples from Canada, Canadian bands, Saga, Rush, obviously, Mystery, not to forget.
Right.
You mentioned them. I'll probably forget a couple of them as well. But doing a tour in Canada, or maybe Northern America. We have some contacts also in Northern America now. Philadelphia might be an option. The Ross Fest, hopefully someday. Hopefully, so we can also meet in person one day.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely, gentlemen.
And
Absolutely.
have a beer.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
And for all our listeners or our audience,
Yeah.
where can they get your music? On what sites or your?
Yeah, you can order our music from our website. That will be silhouetteband.nl. We sell our music on Bandcamp as well, and anywhere else.
Yeah, Freya Music in the Netherlands. FREIA Music, which is the label which we signed on to. They have also other kind of distribution channels, probably also in Northern America. So you can also contact them.
And you guys obviously are on Facebook, you're on Twitter,
Yeah.
you're on all of that, right? Everybody can reach you there.
And we
Exactly.
like many Facebook friends, so please join
we
us.
do.
So do
We
you?
like to have contacts everywhere.
Oh, very good.
All right.
Eric, before Eric and George, I know George's French isn't too good, but do you guys have a message in French for our listeners in Montreal?
Well, actually, it's funny you say that because I was going to ask Eric to say bonsoir when we're going to be finished. But
No,
you
but
beat me to the punch. Beat me to
sorry
the punch. But if you got a message in French, Eric, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can think of something.
Come on, Eric, think.
I missed it.
J'espère qu'au Canada, on veut écouter notre musique et que on va aimer notre musique beaucoup. J'espère que vous pouvez faire un effort d'écouter.
Excellent. That is fantastic. I understood every word. Your French is better than my English, so there you go.
All right. So, Eric, any words for your fans?
Any other words? Well, please, if you have the chance, we are in such an excellent vibe right now on stage. We love so much playing live. Please join us. Please come visit us. Hopefully we can visit you guys and on the other side of the ocean as well.
You're welcome, you guys.
All right. And George, anything you want to add to that?
George.
I want to thank everyone who's already listening to us and bought our album and is coming to our shows. Or has been coming to our shows in the past, and I hope to see more of them every day.
Fantastic.
So before Pierre takes the, I'd like to say thanks to you guys for the interview. Thanks to our fans.
Indeed.
So they get to discover you more and all that.
Indeed. And you know what? I want to say cheers to you guys.
Prost!
Thank you very much. Pros, thank you very much for joining us, gentlemen. And you know what? From Prog Core Live to Silhouette, we wish you the best, all the success in the world, and I am not kidding.
No, I'm serious.
Back to back to back, I listened to those 3 albums, and I just can't get enough of it. So I can't wait till 2017. And probably one of my greatest discoveries through social media has got to be Silhouette. I've discovered a lot of albums, a lot of bands, but you guys are great. So hopefully we'll see you down here sometime.
Okay, great. And thanks for all your work, because we need guys like you as well a lot.
Our
Appreciate it.
pleasure.
Appreciate it.
And keep us posted, eh?
Indeed. Indeed.
We will.
So with that, we're going to end the show. We're going to play one last song to end the show. And it is a special request by Erik and George. And I just keep saying Erik and George, but it's actually Erik Laan, who plays the keyboards, who's also on vocals, and plays the
Bass
pedals. Correct, Erik?
Yes, correct.
All right. And, of course, we have George. Or J or JJ, but actually is it Jurjen? Is that how you pronounce Jurjen?
Jurjen?
Yeah.
Jurjen.
Okay. And your last name is Bergsma, correct?
Yep.
And he's the new guy on the block with Silhouette, the new band member, the bass guitarist, backing vocals also, and excellent job on all of you. Great stuff. And we're going to end with When Snow is Falling Down from the album Across the Rubicon, which is your third album. And looking forward to 2017. Thanks again, gentlemen. Have yourself a good evening, and thanks for joining us. Good luck. All the best.
While a street light make them glowing bright. How can it be it takes control of my mind, searching deep for memories far beyond